Hello and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. And Happy New Year. Can you believe it? We're in a new year and we're in a new season of this amazing show. We're so excited to still be on E360 TV. And to those of you who are following us, thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who are new, Business and Financial Raw Talk is a cutting edge lens on how we look at business. It's translating the nuances of business and how it applies to today's world, economic shifts, looking for individuals who are influencers, who are ready to challenge and push the envelope when it comes to creative strategies in how we apply business and finance in order to increase our impact, influence, and income. And today I have a very special guest, Mr. Cyrus Webb, who is joining us. I am so excited. Not only is he a dear friend, but he is my coach and mentor over the years. He is a TV show host, an influencer, one of the top 100 Amazon influencers, best-selling author, speaker, teacher, media mogul. He is all things extraordinary. He is the editor-in-chief of Conversations Magazine, as well as OCIM Magazine, Mississippi Success Magazine. Oh my goodness, he's written so many books, including Words I Choose to Live By, which he comes at us every single day with those little nuggets to give us some introspection, some food for thought in order to move forward in empowerment in our day. And in just a moment, we will get into our really interesting topic about the translation from client to colleague. We'll see you in a moment. Hey, Cyrus, how's it going?
It's going amazing, LaWanna. Thank you so much for having me back, and thank you for that introduction. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I know you're busy. You have been jet setting all over the world, doing some amazing things. And I want to say congratulations to you. I understand that you received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award November or December?
December, right? I joined the club. So now we're colleagues in other ways as well. So yeah, it's really humbling experience. I really want to thank Chosen Pen for recognizing my work. It really was an honor.
Yeah, I just want to tell people, some people may not know what that is. The Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award is actually bestowed on individuals who have donated over 4,000 hours of volunteer service to the United States, contributing and helping elevate individuals' communities in impactful, insightful ways. And for the highest office in the nation to recognize your work, again, I salute you. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Well, Cyrus, you're doing something I guess, shaking things up a bit. This topic, turning your clients to colleagues.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Because when we think about most small businesses and even big business, right? It's like, your clients are our clients. I want to keep them all for me.
Yeah.
And when we think of colleagues, it's like, okay, what's really going on? And are you ending up losing business because of this translation? So do you mind telling us, how did this idea come up?
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm very excited about this. It's one of the things I've been working on, honestly, LaWanna, kind of behind the scenes since 2020, since the pandemic. So what I realize is with Conversations Media Group, which is my parent company, I do have clients of mine who also are media personalities. They also are authors. They are speakers. And a lot of times they will come to me and help in amplifying their messages. And part of what I do with them as their publicist is I will provide, of course, my platform to them, but also help them also reach other audiences. What I realized, though, is that a lot of people have talked to me, and I would smile when they would say, you're just one person, you need to have a team and la. They didn't realize that's exactly what I was building in many ways with my clients. So what I've been able to do is this. I find people who come to me that are media personalities. That I have currently 7 media personalities that I'm currently working with. And I created a show called Cyrus Webb and Friends that presents us as basically we're co-hosts. We are co-equal on that platform. And what the audience is able to see, LaWanna, is see their own individual personalities. And from that, they've been able to get their own guests for their platforms and be able to help to raise their platform. So we're able to do 2 things. One, me to be able to provide a platform for them, but also for them to be able to showcase their own talents and skills, which is what we want, right? For any of our clients, that then allow them to be able to get to larger heights. So we're really amplifying that in 2025 in big ways. One of the radio stations that I've been on now for a decade here in Mississippi, WYED, we're now bringing 5 of my clients on as weekly hosts on the radio dial here. So they will not only have their own platforms, but also now our listening audience, both locally and also online, will be able to find out about them too. So I'm excited about this because you're right. A lot of times people have the mentality that, I want them for me. But honestly, I feel like the owner of my platform, LaWanna, is that it actually is helping me to show them what I'm able to do for them and what they're able to get in working with me as their publicist. So I'm really excited about it.
Now, how can people tune into Cyrus Webb and Friends?
So it is on Amazon Live. That's one of our shows we have on Amazon. We have a stunning lineup coming up for 2025 for Amazon Live, Lauren. I'm so excited. I am, as you probably saw me post about, one of the platforms I've been on now for 16 years, that being Blog Talk Radio, is ending this year. Very sad. Yeah, very sad about that. I've been with them since they were 2 years old. So I'm very sad about that. But because of what I've been able to build on Amazon now as being one of their top shows in media on Amazon and building the audience we've been able to build there, we've been able to have different shows. So actually by the end of March of 2025, I will have 10 different shows on Amazon Live that you'll be able to watch and listen to. And Cyrus Webb and Friends is one of those. Our very first guest, LaWanna, from Cyrus Webb and Friends was the one and only MC Light. And I had to have 3 of my colleagues, aka clients, were actually co-hosts with that. So imagine that, them having that opportunity to interview people like MC Light, Major, who gave us, such great love songs. They've been able to be a part of those shows with me, all because they're part of the CMG family.
I love that. So it's kind of from, like you said, you're their publicist, but then there's this collaboration happening where it's really a win-win, right? It's furthering your brand, your reach, because they have their own independent platforms, but then they're able to tap into your expertise, your depth of knowledge, and also your network.
Yeah. And I think, LaWanna, and you're like me in this too. I went into this with no ego, and I was in it for 2 things. One, to be very intentional, because I chose, and I tell the team that, look, I know the guest, so I then know what host I think will be best for that segment. And that's how I choose who I'm able to choose, to be a part of that on the platform. But the other side of that is, LaWanna, I literally do what Oprah Winfrey did for Iyanla Vanzant. I normally have 2 or 3 of them come on a segment with me, and I literally will come off stage and put them like you are now in that position with the guest there. So they're able to have that time. We cut out those parts of the interviews, and then they're able to use that for their own sizzle reel and promotion to show they interviewed MC Light and Major and Melba Moore. So that shows what they're able to do with their own platform. So we really very strategic in the way we market it, but also knowing that gives them an opportunity again to show their expertise, but also their personalities.
Now, if someone wanted to actually be on Cyrus Webb and Friends, is this only a show where you interview, established celebrities, or does it have a broader reach?
That's a great question. Cyrus Webb and Friends is one of our new niche shows. So yes, it is only celebrities, which also makes it even sweeter for my colleagues / clients, right? So yes, it is only, so we've had Cedric the Entertainer. My clients got a chance to interview Cedric the Entertainer on with me as well. and they have those clips to be able. So yes, it's only Cyrus Webb and Friends. It's only for the celebrity side of what we do. But as you know, with our programs like Cyrus Webb Presents, that is more for everyone. So and that's been part of the fun too of kind of building my media brand, is that I'm able to segment out so that I'm able to reach the audiences that we're trying to reach, but also provide opportunities where we can for others too.
And Cyrus Webb Presents, is that also only on Amazon?
Well, it's on Amazon, but we do simulcast it for social media, so you're able to watch it on social. But yes, it does originate. All of these programs originate on Amazon, which is another great benefit, because of course, like if we having someone like Cedric Entertainer, you're not only able to get, now Cedric is so multi-hyphenated. He has books, he has music, he has barbecue now on Amazon. So we're able to promote all those products right there on Amazon during his interview. So same with if we have an author on, recording artist, an actor, all their products that are on IMDb and on Amazon, we're able to pull those in so people can find out about their catalog too. Okay,
so just to help some of you are thinking, okay, I'm hearing a lot of buzzwords and not really understanding. Yeah. Basically, when an individual they're multifaceted, like Cedric the Entertainer, you can be interviewing him, showcasing his book, showcasing other products and services, all on the same show.
Yeah. And the beauty of that in technology is, and we even Amazon uses the whole QVC model, because that's what they're used to turning on television and seeing that. Mm-hmm. Ironically, now at LaWanna, Amazon is now on your television as well. You can literally be able to look it up in your streaming service and find Amazon Live and watch us there on your TV as well. But that's what Amazon basically has copied, the QVC model, where individuals can come on. If they have any product at all on Amazon, it'll curate in what we call our show, just like a regular program. And the great thing is, LaWanna, it's not just for those joining us live. People can go back days, weeks, even years later and be able to watch those episodes and still get those products because they're all right there.
I love that. And I didn't even think about what you said. They're now packaging themselves like a QVC.
Yeah.
That we can get it on our own TV. And the one thing, I think I text you, I was surprised because in the last 3 weeks, normally I'm going to Amazon and I'm being intentional to find your shows. Mm-hmm. Now, whenever I go in to order from Amazon, there's there's one of your lives.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. And that's one of the blessings too of what I've done with Amazon over the past decade. So we are now one of their top 5, and we have been now for the past 4 years, one of their top 5 media shows. So I always stress the media side, LaWanna, because Amazon, just like what they're doing, wait till you see what else they're unveiling this year. If you go to amazon.com/live, you'll see, just like on your television, there are different categories. So there's media, there's entertainment, there's cooking, there's home. So you're able to select which area you want to look at, and then it shows you the top shows under that. So if you click on media, you'll see us. We're one of the top 5 shows of media. As of today, we're entering 2025 as the number 1 show on Amazon Live right now in media. So we have now over 2 million views just on Amazon alone on our show. So it's been great. And I think it's the diversity of what we bring to Amazon, but also it is a coalition, because I'm also working with hundreds of brands, as you know, to be able to not only to do interviews and do this, but also to bring products. So you're able to shop with me for things for your home and your office and your friends and family, but also get entertained as well. So I've kind of built this cohesion in Amazon that really brings everything I do together. And I think that's what's really helped us to be a driving force there now.
So what you have now, Cyrus, I want to go back a little bit, rewind time, and where you stand now as major influencer, top in Amazon, have #1 live show on Amazon, working with other influencers. You've been working with top celebrities for decades, but now amplifying it and giving exposure to others. You are a teacher. I mean, you've got this major philanthropic work that you're doing, and we're going to get into that. But going back in time, Think about your very first radio show. And now fast forward to today. Did you see then what is possible today?
No. That's an easy answer, LaWanna. And the reason being, but let me tell you why. And I'm so glad you brought up the very first one. Because the mistake with the very first one is it was not me. I was giving an opportunity, but they had preconceived ideas of what that opportunity should look like instead of what I would be best at, right? And I tell the story, LaWanna, back in July 2003 when I had my very first show on WMPR 90.1 FM in Jackson. It was billed as the Cyrus Webb show. And it was supposed to be almost like a talking head show, and then I would have callers call in to talk about. That's just not my personality. I'm someone, I tell people I know what I know, but I never feel like my voice is the authority for everyone. So I didn't feel comfortable trying to talk about it, basically give commentary on things like that. It was not. So the show was going horribly. Until I got a caller. I had a producer. The producer says, you have a caller. And I never will forget this. And I smile because she and I are still friends to this day. Angela Sarton. She's now Angela Collier. She's married to Chris Collier. You know Chris.
Okay.
She called into the show. She was listening online. The one I didn't even know the show was online. She was listening in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was in there in Jackson. Cyrus, I'm listening to you on the radio. Well, Angela is an artist. And I heard God speak to me, LaWanna, and say, ask her about herself. And I said, Angela, thank you so much for calling in. For those who don't know about you and your art, why don't you tell them? And she started talking, getting excited. And it was in that moment I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing. So actually, in many ways, even though I didn't see it, what I realized, and that's when it became Conversations Live with Cyrus Webb, because I realized I was really the co-host, that the guest should be the star. So in many ways, it was preparing me for where I am now, in that I don't mind giving people the spotlight, like having the Cyrus Webb and Friends. You know, I had someone I respect, and I understood up here what they were trying to say. They were like, well, yeah, but you're sharing the platform. And my thought was, yeah, that's a good thing, because it's reminding people of what they can do, what's possible for them. And I want to say this, if you don't mind, LaWanna. The very first guest, as I mentioned, was MC Light. Now, I knew that was going to be a big opportunity for them. They all did great. I had 3 of the members with me. What I didn't know they were going to do, each one of them went live on their own with no prompting from me, talking about that experience. One of them was almost in tears, talking about that experience of having that time. And I said, that is worth any amount of money. That is worth any amount of, to give someone that opportunity to be able to not only interview someone they love and respect, but to say that I was able to do that, to be able to show their family I did this. That to me is what this brand has really become about.
Yeah, I love that, because you talk about your shows, you know, it provides inspiration, but then it shows people the possibilities.
Yeah.
Like you said, of who they can be, right, who they are becoming. And sometimes we need that. We need, yes, there's so much negative in the world. So many people telling us what we can't do. You know, our dreams are too big. But when you have individuals like you who are nurturing and caring enough to help people along, I mean, that's priceless. You know, and I'm sorry, and I just want to I'm going to turn it back over to you, but I just want to personally tell you, I'd already posted it on Facebook, but, you know, thanking you over the years. I can't believe it's going on almost 17 years. Can you believe it? Yeah. And our paths intersected because I brought to you a guest who's my business partner. Mm-hmm. And I never knew that was going to open up doors. I didn't know I was going to be in this line of work. Yeah. And you are so, you're a gentle giant of a coach. And I use that term because you know when to swing the hammer to say, okay, now let's cut to the chase And
Yeah.
it's a good thing because you do it from a point of genuine care.
Yes.
And I'm just excited because I've had an opportunity to actually be on some of your co-host shows,
Hmm.
and it's been a brilliant and amazing experience. So
Yeah. And it really is. I want to tell you later about what I believe. I know this is a big statement, but what I believe will be my legacy project that's launching this year, Mocum. It has all been to me to remind people it's so much bigger than us. When I started, my story, no college education, no broadcast experience. People were telling me I wasn't going to be good at this. This wouldn't last. And now I'm celebrating 22 years this year, in doing this, never taking a break from it. And many of them are, come and gone. I really believe my whole life is about what's possible. I think about that biblical example when Jesus came on the scene as a teacher, and people were like, can anything good come out of, out of Nazareth? I want people to know it's not about where you're from. Regardless of what people may say about you, if you have a skill, if you have a gift, and you're willing to do the work, and you and I both know the importance of that, great things can happen for you. And I'm living proof of that. Living proof of that. And that's why I am emboldened and empower my team to, one, not limit themselves, but also to think about what they can do and who they can be and who they can be able to inspire to.
yeah, I love that. It's like you're paying it forward, right, by giving someone a hand up, if you will. You use the term, hard work.
Yeah.
And I like you to talk to our listening audience about that, because we are at an age where, especially the new generation coming up, I want it now. I want it
Yeah.
instant.
Yeah.
And if I can't, with my little effort and partner with AI, and if I can't see instant success in at least 2 weeks, I'm on to
Yeah.
the next thing.
Right.
So what do you want to say to individuals that have that mindset and they want to be successful in business, but the work ethic just may not be where it needs to be?
Yeah. That's a great question, LaWanna. And I think too, and that's one of the things that I'm an optimistic person, but that has to be one of the saddest things for me. I don't get angry about a lot, but one of the saddest things is for people don't realize the brilliance of time.
Mm.
And I've interviewed a celebrity publicist, Angelo Ellerby, and he said something last year in an interview that I really took. He said his mom always would not let him take the elevator when they would go places. He'd have to take the stairs. And she would not do instant coffee. And I'm a big Folgers instant coffee guy. They wouldn't do instant coffee, Lauren. They would have to brew it. And she was trying to teach him the importance of time and the importance of realizing the journey of things and not trying to think about getting there quickly, but getting where you want to go thoughtfully so you can appreciate it. What I would say to people is that it's hard to appreciate something you didn't really spend time with. I think that's why a lot of marriages don't work. I think a lot of friendships don't work because there's no depth there. You rush into something, you meet someone, and all of a sudden you think, everything's just going to be perfect instead of getting the time to get to know people, getting the time to be able to learn a craft, getting that time to get to know yourself. I didn't know who I was in 2003. I was better in 2003 when I started Conversations Live than I was in 1996 when I tried to kill myself. I was in a better place. In 2025, I know me. I have grown it, but it took me that time. It took me that time to know what worked and what didn't work, who I can work with and who I can't. What my limitations are and where it's better for me to bring someone in to be able to come. So I say that, if you're expecting it to come quickly, you don't really want it to last. That's what I would say. But if you
Wow.
want something to build, I mean, like I said, I'm getting ready to celebrate 22 years in July of this show, 19 years of the magazine. And my publicist that I just now brought in for myself said, Cyrus, you outlived Blog Talk Radio. And I thought, you know what, you're right. It's just funny to think about. But that took time. So that's what I would say. Appreciate the lessons and the opportunities. Because let me say this too. One of the big names I'm working with this year, one of the things that his people mentioned was the amount of years I had been doing what I've been doing consistently. If I had not put in those years on a lot of these opportunities I would even have.
Yeah, people, I think sometimes we don't realize how watched we are.
Yeah.
right? People are just on the sidelines, and even like with this show here that I have, it's because of some work that I was doing with during Women's History Month that
Mm-hmm.
I got a knock on the door from another network, not E360, and that's kind of what opened up this door. But I wasn't thinking about using this type of media for a platform.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing that you mentioned, and I don't remember exactly how you worded it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was someone who might have been consulting you, and they were talking about your growth
Yeah.
or your ability to grow. Let me say that, but
Mm-hmm.
you had to change your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
can you walk us through that story?
I would. One of the best things that ever happened to me. Now, I will say what's up again because I am a positive person and I like to learn. I love learning, and I appreciate feedback. I was approached by Steve Harvey's producers. This was now probably about 8 years ago, and I had been contacted by someone. I don't know if I've ever talked about them publicly, but I will. Ish Major, who I knew Ish Major, and the name people who watch WeTV will know him. He's a celebrity counselor that's on the marriage show there. When I met him, he was a self-published author. I helped promote his book. But when he elevated, he remembered me, and he said, "Cyrus, I was talking about you with some people. LaWanna, they already had the numbers. They'd already gone through and looked up things and Googled, and they had all the. So when we got the meeting, the guy was very. Of course, I didn't know him, but he was very direct. He's like, he's listening to me, and he says, you know what? Well, we don't need you to tell us anything about the numbers. We have the numbers. We know you do this. We know you do that, but we don't think that you have the mindset that you need to
Mm.
have. And I said, what do you mean? And he literally said to me, you're running $1 million business like a mom and pop shop. And for some people, that would have been too much. For me, it reinforced what other people had said to me. But here was someone who had no skin in the game, who was now in that, it was funny because fast forward, I ended up working with him on Steve Harvey's Game Star when he brought Family Feud to Target. And they ended up coming back to me. But that was years later after they saw the changes. So I bring that up because our mindset does have a lot to do. And I didn't really understand and appreciate my value. And I think it went deeper than that, LaWanna. And again, showing my growth to today, I didn't appreciate the importance of putting a value on my value. And I think a lot of people made that mistake of thinking, okay, yeah, I know I have $1 million idea, but I can't charge $1 million for it. Well,
Right.
that in itself is devaluing what I know is a value. And when he said that to me, I literally made a post on Facebook, and I'm so glad I still have that memory. That because it was so revelatory for me. Because it's like, wait a minute, here's someone who has no skin in the game that comes to me. He's not trying to stroke my ego. He's like, you have this, but you don't even realize what you have and how valuable it is. So yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah, I love that story. And one of the things that I tell people is you can't, if you're not able to rise up, like this is all about value, right? And
Yeah,
applaud yourself,
yeah,
know what you bring to the table. How can you expect the world to stand up and applaud you? So, like you said, you've got this great, brilliant idea. You've got this engine that's working.
yeah.
But again, if your mindset is situated in a mom and pop business, and this is not downing any mom and pop
Right,
operations, but it's
right.
it's a different level, then
Hmm.
there's no way that this $1 million idea can go beyond where your
Yes.
mindset is,
Yeah.
right? It's just
Hmm.
it's impossible.
Right. Right.
So what did you do to shift that? I mean, I know you heard the words, but then was it like an instant, okay, I got the epiphany and suddenly you changed, or was that a process for you?
It was definitely a process. So it began with me speaking it. So what I said was I automatically said the next year my prices are going up.
Mm,
I said it to myself and I said it to my audience because I believe in preparing my audience that's used to certain things to letting them know what's coming. And then, LaWanna, what I think is the big thing, and I did it in 2024 heading into this year, not only did I tell them about what was price increasing, I then started increasing the value I was bringing. So that then it became even more clear, not only was it worth it, that I was going to give you the very best and then some. Just like my clients with CMG, when they signed on with me, they didn't know that I already had in my mind, wait a minute, you have a great skill set. You know, they didn't know I was bringing them over to the station this year. I'd already been planning that behind the scenes, figuring out, who I was going to be able to start with. And then I called a group meeting and said, I'm bringing you guys over with me starting January the 13th. So, and I know what that's going to do for them. But again, it was a process. So that's how it was for me. It was a process up here to say, you know what, this is right. This is the right thing to do for my growth. And I'll tell you something else I had to realize, and this became clear for me too. We all have heard about treating our business like a business, and that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized, honestly, I wasn't doing that. Because any business should be looking to grow. I was in many ways content because my bills were paid. I didn't have any, you know what I'm saying? I was at a place where I wasn't thinking about here. So that's why their words had even more import for me, because I realized I had put a ceiling on myself. So that was another reason why there was $1 million in the month, because I had basically had limited myself. By raising the bar, not only it wasn't about me raising prices so I could make more money, it was raising prices so I could invest in my team. So I could bring in people to do, more graphics, more covers, more, editing. So I could bring in people to do those things and be able to pay them for their services. So it really was a mindset shift. But yeah, it was something that had to it took some time. But I made the decision then that it had to be done.
Yeah, and I think, there's nothing wrong with where you were, and some of you that are listening may think, well, I'm good. My bills are paid. I don't have to work for anyone else. That's not what we're saying, but we're talking about when you're thinking about the structure of business and being able to grow and scale, that the leader, the visionary, has to have a different mindset.
Yeah.
What is going to get you to that next level isn't what got you to where you are today, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what I had to realize was I didn't have anyone. I mean, you have to remember, I'm the first one in my family to be on a road like this. First one to write books. First one to be an entrepreneur. So it's not like I had examples around me to look at.
Right.
What I had examples of was the life I was living. You work so you could pay your bills, take care of your bills. That's the example I had. So that's what I did. So I thought I was good. I didn't realize that me making more was not about just so I could flex. It's about me so I could expand my reach and also the work that I was trying to do. So that again, that was up here. That was a mindset shift for me.
Yes. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the amazing Cyrus Webb.
Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators with award-winning business strategist and financial analyst LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group. With Raw Talk, we are empowering women to rise and succeed in business and finances and improve the world for the next generation. Get ready to get raw and real. Live each Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.
Well, we are back with Cyrus Webb, media personality extraordinaire, top Amazon influencer, author, speaker, presidential lifetime award winner, and mentor, coach, and my friend. And we're here talking about mindset. And if it's okay, Cyrus, I'd like to sit in this space a little bit because we're starting the new year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people have done their vision boards. They've set their goals. They've made their intentions. But we know in 30 to 45 days, it's all going to go to the wayside. Why is that? Why is it that most people, they spend so much time forecasting what they want for themselves, but then they lose steam 30 days, 45 days out the gate?
Well, that is a great question. And I have to say, I think it goes back to what we mentioned earlier. And I think that's why this conversation, I'm so glad you're having this. And that is about the long game. I think it sounds good, right? When you're planning it, that I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to the gym, and all of that sounds good. But if you don't have the plan and the wherewithal to stick to it, it's not going to work. Just like we were talking about earlier with relationships. And I think that, and with business, quite honestly, because we both know there are a lot of businesses that have come and gone since we've been on the scene, right? I tell people the TV shows that have gone, the TV networks that have gone. And it's because of exactly what we're talking about in this conversation, the planning and to be able to stick to it. I think that's the thing. It's great to start, but it really is about how you finish. I think the beauty for me, what I've learned, and why I started 2025 off with such optimism, because I was in it to win it, as I am every day. But for me, I have the mindset of every day starting at zero. That's how regardless of what happened yesterday, I start every day at zero. Because I feel like if I do that, then it allows me the opportunity to really to show myself and others what I'm made of. I can't rest on the fact of what I did yesterday or in 2024 because I have big plans. Now it's up to me to implement those, right? And it begins with what I choose to do each and every day. And I think that's the big thing. People, they have the vision boards and everything, which I think is great. But what is the plan to do what's on the vision board? What is your daily plan to get there? And if tomorrow I can be transparent with you and say, and I was asked this recently in an interview about my most difficult time. The most difficult time I've experienced in the past 10 years of my business has nothing to do with my business. They both were personal. 2024 was the death of my grandmother. 2014 was the death of my grandmother. 2024, my mom has had some health challenges, even having to go to the hospital for a blockage in her heart. And both of those incidents are things I can't do anything about, but they did affect my schedule. What they didn't do, though, is cause me to stop. And I think all of us have life that happens to us. We can have our goal, we can have our vision, but life will happen to us. Things will happen unexpectedly. What matters, though, is are you going to get up and start at zero again? A lot of people, though, and LaWanna, I think you know this too, but people life will happen and they just throw in the towel. Say, well, I just can't do it. Instead of saying, okay, maybe I can't do what I thought I was going to be able to do, but what can I do today? What can I do today that would at least get me a little bit closer? And that's how I approach each and every day.
I love that. And I want to sit a little bit into what you said, that not just starting at ground zero, but I was smiling when you said it, that people have this vision board. They've written it, it's plain, but they don't know how to get there. There's no action steps to get there.
Yeah.
And that's really where the work, well, I should say the start of the work, right? If I've got this plan, but now I got to figure out what modalities am I going to use to get there and all the resources and support that I may need. But then I've got to decide to move.
Right.
Right. So I want to intersect this with the loss of your grandmother. Mm-hmm. So you've shared with me, just that journey. Like you said, you didn't stop. Mm-hmm. How were you able to keep pressing toward that mark when you were dealing literally with a life and death situation? And how can that story help to encourage others that may be going through that same thing?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question. And let me say, too, what I've learned for myself. Now, this may not be true for everybody. My biggest lessons have come from loss. My biggest lessons have come from loss. I grew up, in a family, we weren't wealthy people. Both of my parents worked, to be able just to have what we needed. I knew anytime I needed something extra for band or art, it was a sacrifice for them to do it, but they did it. Um, and that was a way of showing love. That was how I saw love. My grandmother, she gave me my first haircut. I had the privilege when I was in middle school because she was going to be living alone. My older cousin, who was living with her, she was going off to college, and they were looking for someone. So I would love to do. I would love to live with her. So I grew up with her in many ways. So in 24, so we had this relationship. I tell people she's the longest relationship I've ever been in, LaWanna. So in 2014, the year started, but she failed the beginning of the year, and she passed in May. So the journey in between, it was back and forth to the hospital with shortness of breath, and finally, it was in May that she actually had to stay in the hospital, and that's when I was like, okay. Because I'd already adjusted my schedule. I was doing my radio show and everything, so I wasn't doing any traveling at the time. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were our Dallas's days, so I'd already built my schedule. I had not built the schedule for staying in the hospital. But I was literally doing my show, LaWanna, from her hospital room. In fact, if you go back and listen to some of those same shows, my first interview with Kelly Price, I was literally sitting next to my grandmother in the hospital. You could actually hear in the background the nurses coming in. So I said that to say this. I had my priority, which was my grandmother. But what I realized was that the worst thing I could do is stop. I made adjustments. That's what I did. Now, when it came to the end, the day before she died, when it was obvious what was happening, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was hurt. I was angry. I was telling her that she was making the wrong decision and saying she was tired. We literally were in the hospital. I was saying, no, don't say this. Don't say this. And she's like, Cyrus, I'm tired. This is, I've done. But she gave me a gift, LaWanna, and that's the point I wanted to get to. And if she had not done this, I don't know what would have happened to me. She said to me, Cyrus, you've given me this time. Now it's time for you to give it to yourself. She said that to me the day before she died. And I didn't know what that looked like at that point. We'd been on dialysis for 8 years. So my whole schedule had been her schedule. Right. From the times I ate is when I fed her. And that was so I didn't even know what that looked like. So when she died, I went through a few months. I gained weight. I didn't know, okay, am I supposed to? I didn't know how to do anything. I was doing the show, but my personal life was it was messed up because I didn't know what to do outside of that time now, But the point I wanted to make was I remembered what she said to me, and that was to keep going. So I knew that what I had to do was that. I had to find that way. And it meant sometimes being 100% some days, and other days being okay with being 50%. But the important thing for me was to keep, like I was saying about starting at zero, whatever I was able to do. Cornbread was one of her favorite things for me to cook. The first Thanksgiving after she died, my family asked me to make some cornbread dressing. I cried that whole time making the dressing. I laugh about it now, but it was that memory, but also like, okay, Cyrus, this is, you just have to work yourself through this. So I would say to people out there, LaWanna, that we have those events. It could be the loss of a job, could be the loss of a loved one, loss of a friendship. But the important thing is to find a way to keep going, whatever that looks like for you. That was my way of doing it, and it got easier and easier. But I will say this, it wasn't a year after she died that I got one of the biggest opportunities of my professional life. And if I had not done what she said and encouraged me to do, it never would have happened.
Wow. I love hearing the story about your grandmother. And this show, ladies and gentlemen, this is for infotainment purposes and for those of you that may be going through that have suffered a loss, I've put contact information here below. Reach out, get support and assistance that you may need. If you're in the U.S., it's 800-662-4357 or text 988 or chat with someone at 988lifeline.org. And we just pray that you're well as you navigate this time of newness and uncertainty. You know, I know I'm there. And what was interesting, Cyrus, is, you know, bringing in the new year, the strangest thing for me was that was harder than anything else that I've dealt with up to this time since Dad passed.
Really?
Because I realized this is the first year of my life that Dad will never be in it.
Yeah. And
I thought, whoa, it just, again, I know where I am, but for some reason that just seemed final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is where the opportunity is. And that's why I wanted to make sure I brought up about 2015, because that was my first year. But that was the year that New York Times bestselling author Jackie Collins, who was dying of cancer, who she hadn't told anyone, invited me to her book launch in New York. And what I thought about LaWanna, if my grandmother was living, I wouldn't have gone, because I would have felt I need to be here for my grandmother. I appreciate the opportunity, because that's what I was doing. I was turning down any travel.
Right.
But when I got that invite, and I thought to myself, if I had not gone, I never would have met her, because she was dead 3 months later. And so the fact that she had even posted online I was her favorite interviewer. And when I got the invite, I had no idea that would be the first and only time I'd ever see her.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty profound. And I think, you know, we're here again with Cyrus Webb. And at the beginning of the year, I couldn't think of anyone else to kick off Raw Talk. I think you kicked us off every year for the last 4 years, but it's because your journey, the relatability, and now how you are advancing and accelerating and creating this consortium from clients to colleagues and helping them to achieve their dreams is just huge. And I really thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you.
Oh, I do have one question before I turn things over to you, because we'll take a little commercial break. From the media standpoint, from TV and radio, is there anything that you see on the cutting edge that's happening that individuals who are in this space need to be aware and need to position themselves to take advantage of? Is there any one key thing that you want to say, you may want to lean into this?
LaWanna, yes. And you'll see me with CMG and even my personal brand doing this year. And it's big. And it's something you are already doing, by the way. But I would say to everyone out there, whether you have 1 follower, 100 followers, 1,000 followers or more, you want to start housing your content on YouTube. There's something big happening right now with YouTube that I've noticed even in my own personal brand, where YouTube has never been a big part of my marketing strategy. But the people who are finding me through content I've created years ago are all following me because of YouTube. Because YouTube, of course, is owned by the largest search engine, Google. Now, when people, it's gone are the days of people just going to websites. They're going and searching for things. And if you're a content creator, if you're a media personality, whether you do a 5-minute show, 15-minute show, 30-minute show, an hour show, find a way to incorporate YouTube into your strategy. Because I think that's going to be something, and I'm speaking from experience here, is going to be huge this year. I would say the other thing, LaWanna, in tandem with that, is also being able to utilize these platforms, especially like LinkedIn and going live. I think there's so much opportunity there. I got so much new business out of LinkedIn in 2024, all because of taking advantage of their new marketing tools that they have available. If you switch your account to digital creator there on LinkedIn. They're really trying to position themselves as their own social media platform and not just a place to find a job. So I would say those two things definitely.
Love that. Well, Cyrus, we are almost out of time. It always goes by so fast with you.
Well, you ask great questions. I appreciate that.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and the next voice you're going to hear is Cyrus Webb, and he's got some tips and information that you definitely don't want to miss. We'll be back.
What I would say as we're closing out is to make sure that if you're going to make sure that 2025 is not just another year, but a new year, it definitely has to start with your mindset. Think about what may have been working for you, what may have kept you from the challenges and also achieving what you wanted to do in 2024. And think about how you have to switch your mindset to make sure that you don't make that mistake going into 2025. Have you a plan? Having the great goal is I think admirable, but having the plan of getting there, I think is vital, especially if you want to be able to achieve something that you haven't done before. The last thing I would mention is don't be afraid to get help. There is, of course, University of Google that's out there that you can be able to take advantage of, but also don't be afraid of getting a mentor if you need one, to being able to get consultation where you may have an area that you want to be able to hone better, because that will only help you to get there in a way that would not only make your time productive, but also make it effective as well. So again, don't be afraid of having the great goals, but be willing to do the work to get there, make your plan, and I know you'll succeed.
I love that. Some great advice. I just want individuals to make sure that you watch Cyrus Webb Presents on Amazon.com. And you can watch Cyrus Webb and Friends on Amazon Live. And for those of you who want to be a part of Business and Financial Raw Talk as a guest, if you have some innovative, creative ways that you're looking at business and finance that'll be a benefit to our broader audience, please contact me. Information is below. Would love to have a conversation to see how we can create a win-win with you. And Cyrus, what's the best way that people can reach you beyond tuning into your shows?
So I try to make it easier. So my link tree is actually linked at cyruswebb.com. That's cyruswebb.com. That'll lead you to all of my social, my Amazon shows, the magazine, everything is right there. So just go to cyruswebb.com.
Easy breezy, isn't it? Well, Cyrus, thank you so much. I appreciate you. To our listening audience, thank you for tuning in. If you need some assistance, a coach, a mentor to guide you thinking about getting into this media space, want to enhance your visibility and influence as an influencer, Cyrus Webb is definitely someone you want to reach out and connect with his team. And thank you again for joining us for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. And remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. I'm LaWanna Bradford, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. Bye for now.